Hello and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Performance League 2 Italian Grand Prix, the track where the late Niki Lauda in 1976 came back to finish an astounding fourth only 6 weeks after his horrific accident at the Nürburgring. Luckily, we have no comebacks such as that tonight, no one in that dire situation, as qualifying will begin very shortly. I do want to take this time, though, to mention that the great Niki Lauda did unfortunately pass away yesterday at the age of 70, and he will be remembered as a legend of the sport, and both in aviation, and his contributions to both will not be remembered lightly. Right now we are just waiting for the signal for drivers to be able to go out on track to start their qualifying lap. As now it looks like someone is making the first move. Looks to be the Williams, and now Nitro Gas is starting to make a move coming out of the pits now in the Mercedes. Meg Luckpie in the Williams and Nitro Gas in the Mercedes are currently the only ones out on track. Just now trying to get heat in their tires. So we ride on board with Meg Luckpie. There's something about this track that I've always loved, even when I would play it when I would play it on games as a kid. There's just something about this track that I've always loved, and I don't know if maybe it's just the speed that you can carry through that straightaway and then the straightaway coming up, or if it's just the track in general and how beautiful it looks. But very, very pretty, and this is probably one of my favorite tracks, if not my favorite track on the Formula One schedule. While we watch Meg Luckpie on track, I ask our viewers to please stand by momentarily for tech. Now it looks like every driver has came out of the pits and is now attempting a qualifying lap. They have 14 minutes to do so, plenty of time to get a fast time in, plenty of time to get acclimated to the track and learn a quick way around. Right now we see Yas. It looks like he just recently came out of the pits. Still very slow is Yas. Of course, just trying to get temperature in those tires. You do not want to get into the throttle too much when your tires are cold. Then all of a sudden you're going to get wheel spin, you're going to spin out, and then there goes a potentially good lap. Speaking of good lap, we now have our first time set on the board by Meg Luckpie with a 1:21.441. We now have 6 times posted on the board. Scopefielder is now our fastest qualifier with a 1:21.1, as Meg Luckpie with a 1:21.4 is sitting in second as of now. Nick Thompson, of course, in third with a 1:22.3. Now to check on Nick Thompson in that McLaren, that bright orange McLaren. You could not miss it if you tried. It's just that kind of color that really just sticks out at you, and you cannot help but see it. Right now we only have 3 drivers that have not been able to post a time. It looks like Warslander is not going to be able to post a time this session. However, Archie and Energy Dan have yet to even come out of the pits. As right now we see our current fastest qualifier, Scope Builder in the Williams, still sitting pretty with a 1:21.1. Archie in the Sauber has not yet set a time. And now it looks like Energy Dan is starting his outlap, so we will see a time from him as well. Nitro Gash in the Mercedes. Going a little wide out of that corner, but none the worse for wear. As Nitro Gash goes into the pits, right now we have only Energy Dan, it appears, out on the track right now, as everyone else is in the pits. However, it now seems that 4 drivers have started their outlap and soon will try to post a faster time than Scope Builder, who still sits up first with 1:21.1. We are going to ride on board with Energy Dan in that Red Bull as he makes his qualifying lap. A little bit in the gravel goes Energy Dan in that Red Bull. Meg Lugpie and the Williams now have set our fastest time with a 1:21.0. Scopefielder's 1:21.1 is only second best at this time, and Briggsy is now third with a 1:22.0. The only drivers that have yet to post a time are Archie and Warslander will not be able to post a time, it looks like, in this qualifying session. Only 6.5 minutes remaining, and Scopefielder is now back on top with a 1:20.996. Yas in second with a 1:21.0, and then Meg Lugpie in third with a 1:21.065. Archie still has not posted a time. We're going to ride on board with him and see what's going on there. Maybe he's waiting for the last minute. Maybe he has something up his sleeve. He has to take evasive maneuvers to avoid the slow car right there in the groove. But he got through none the worse for wear as we anticipate what his lap time will be this time around. And the fastest lap of the session has been posted by Archie with a 1:20.887 with only 5 minutes remaining. Will anyone be able to top that? I do not know. I definitely was not expecting that, but what did I say? That he may just have something up his sleeve, and maybe that's why, just maybe, that is why he waited until 5 minutes remaining to post his first lap of the session. Now, the question is, can he post an even faster lap? Because now, with that on the board, and everyone very well aware of it, everyone is definitely going to be kicking it into high gear, trying to get every little bit that they can out of their car to try and get the fastest time. Looks like Briggsy in that Ferrari is making an outlap. Gonna try to set the fastest time. Currently he is fifth with a 1:22.0. Also looks like Energy Dan and Mr. P are also out on the track trying to set a faster lap, as Warslander back there in 10th will ultimately start there as he is not able to post a time. Just under 3.5 minutes remaining. Archie still on top. In fact, it does not appear that our top three has changed at all. We're still riding along with Briggsy. He is still in 5th position. We're going to ride on board with him. Just about 2 minutes remaining. As you can see, the top 3 still has not changed. Though Mr. P has been able to set the 6th fastest lap now with a 1:21.4. Energy Dan in that Red Bull still back in 9th place. And Meg Lugpie, which is our points leader, in 4th place right now. Now, I am going to take this time to let you know that if you go onto the Invictus Racing League Performance League 2 website, actually Invictus Racing League's website, and then you go to the Performance League 2 tables, you will notice that this is scheduled to be our last race of this season. However, that is not the case, as we will have to return to China next week due to PSN issues, from what I am told. However, that does not change the fact that Meg Lugpie, sitting in 4th, is currently our points leader with 26 points over Yas and 27 over Nick Thompson. Meg Lugpie almost has the championship clinched. If he wins today, he may very well walk away with a championship with 1 race to spare. I am not going to sit here and do the math right now. We will wait and let the stewards figure that out later. Three minutes remaining. This will be, anyone who is on the track, this will be their last qualifying lap. Will anybody have anything for Archie, who is sitting up there in first still with a 1:20.8? Scope Fielder with a 1:20.9. Yas in 2nd place in the championship points with a 1:21.0. And Meg Lugpie, our leader, in 5th with a 1:21.065. Mr. P has now set the 3rd fastest time with a 1:21.004. So that will be a very decent starting spot for Mr. P indeed. We have a few drivers making their final lap. Will anybody have anything for Archie? We're actually going to ride with Archie as he is also making his final lap. He has actually increased his time just ever so slightly to a 1:20.799, as Scope Fielder has increased his time as well to a 1:20.846. And after Mr. P set the 3rd fastest time, that puts Yas and Meg Lugpie, our 1st and 2nd in the points, at 4th and 5th, both with a 1:21.0 respectively. And now, qualifying has ended, and it is official that Archie, in that Sauber, has won the pole. An amazing performance by Archie. Honestly, not the person I would expect to have gotten the pole. Not for the lack of driving, of course, but just because it took him so long to make a qualifying lap that I just wasn't sure what was going on there. And as you see, Warslander down there, he did not set a time. So I didn't know if maybe Archie did or did not want to set a time, but I'm sure he's glad he did, as he walked away with the pole. And speaking of Archie, he has actually commented on our chat. He's wondering who that fast guy on the pole is. Well, Archie, guess what? It's you, buddy. To our viewers who may just be joining us, qualifying has concluded, and shortly, very shortly, we will be starting the race here for our Italian Grand Prix. Archie has officially claimed the pole. Our first and second drivers in the championship, Meg Luckpie and Yas, will be starting 5th for Meg Luckpie and 4th for Yas, respectively. As we look down the F1 garage, down the F1 pit lane, waiting for the cars to line up, waiting for them to start their formation lap, and then waiting for that green flag, that beautiful green flag that signifies that racing is in fact underway. And we will see that very shortly. Though I will take this moment, this quick moment, to have an appropriate moment of silence for the late Niki Lauda, who unfortunately passed away yesterday at the age of 70. The best tribute I possibly can give to an F1 legend, Niki Lauda. We will race in his honor, and we will never forget the contributions he made to the sport. Now, you see, we have began our formation lap. Going down the line, our starting lineup will be Archie in that Sauber. Of course, our pole sitter, Scopefielder in second. Third is going to be Mr. P, who set a surprisingly fast lap. Yas in fourth. Fifth is Meg Luckpie. Sixth is Briggsy. Nitro Gash in seventh. Eighth is going to be Nick Thompson. Energy Dan in ninth. And Warislander, who was not able to post a time in that qualifying session, is going to line up in the 10th position. This will be a 27-lap race, and I'm very interested to see what pit strategies are going to take place today. A couple weeks ago, MJ Coupe was able to absolutely run away from the field in, I believe it was Mexico, and he won with a 22-second lead because he took only one pit stop when everyone else in the field took two. Ever since then, it seems that every now and again people are trying to make it on just one stop. Now, MJ Coupe is unfortunately not able to be here with us today, so do not look for a victory for him today. However, I am again wondering just what will come of these drivers and their pit strategy today, as it is only a 27-lap race, a little bit shorter than what we've been seeing here recently in the other races, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be any short of action. Right now we see the cars lined up. The Sauber, the Williams, and the Force India, the top three, as they are about to go racing. And the lights are green. It is the green flag. And here we go. We are starting our race at the Italian Grand Prix. The start relatively clean, as Scopefielder is actually just shot out to an early lead, and he is on the inside going into turn one, and he will clear Archie for the lead, but Archie is still right behind him. He is not going to let him go that easily, as the Force India of Mr. P is still comfortably sitting in third. Meglugpie, our points leader, has moved from 5th to the 4th position, and Yas, who started 4th, has moved all the way down to 8th. This was a relatively clean start, but it was not short of jostling for position, that is definitely for sure, as our pole sitter is now 2nd, our 5th place starter is now 4th, and our 4th place starter is now all the way back in 8th place. On board with our pole sitter of Archie, as you see just how far ahead Scope Builder is, not very far at all, as Archie can definitely see him and he is definitely chasing that bumper, but will he have anything for him in this race? Archie looks like he's getting just a little bit closer coming out of that corner, but he went a little wide. I'm not sure if that's going to hurt him or not. We're going to go on board. He does not yet have the DRS. DRS has not yet been enabled, but nonetheless, he is going to try to make the move on the inside of Scope Builder, and will he be able to clear him just like Scope Builder did on him a lap ago? And yes, he will, at least for now. He has cleared Scope Builder. Archie in the Sauber is back to the lead. Scope Builder will have to settle for second, at least for now. Will we see a repeat of what we just saw, except with the roles reversed and Scope Builder making the move on Archie going into turn 1 on lap 3. Archie is putting a decent gap on Scope Builder, not a second yet, but it is increasing ever so slightly. If you refer to the board on the upper left hand side of your screen, is now we're going to check on our 3rd place runner, Mr. P, who has kept his position these 2 laps right now and is sitting very comfortably in 3rd with no pressure from behind and slowly but surely trying to make his way up and battle for the lead. Of course, right behind that Force India is our points leader, Meglugpie, leading Yas by 26 points. Yas all the way down in the 7th position now, gaining 1 spot since he dropped from 4th to 8th at the beginning. Archie has now set the fastest lap of this session so far with a 1:24. Of course, let's look for that to change, as qualifying times were 1:20, and now it looks like Mr. P has actually went off the track. Mr. P went off the track, a 3-second time penalty from the stewards for corner cutting. Obviously, of course, he does maintain 3rd position for now, but at the end of the race, that 3-second time penalty may come back to bite him. We're going to ride along with Mr. P, going to go on board. It doesn't look like anything's too worse for wear. I'm sure his tires are not necessarily in the ideal shape after having slid off the track like that. But again, like I said, he is none the worse for wear, and he is still held on to the 3rd position, at least for now, and is 1 second ahead of Meglugpie in 4th. On board with Meglugpie, and you see the Force India of Mr. P up there in 3rd place, with Archie and Scope Builder still battling it out for 1st. While this battle kind of calms down just a little bit, however, we're going to watch going into turn 1 right now. Will Scope Builder have anything for Archie at all? We're going to ride on board with him. He's trying to get the slipstream. He's trying to get that draft, and it does, in fact, get him closer, but not close enough to even try to make the move, as Archie gets just a little bit sideways in that corner, but holds on to it very, very nicely. Scope Builder gained a lot of time in that corner, a lot of time. But Archie, I think, is much better off the corners than Scope Builder, at least in this moment of time in the race. Now, as this battle, well, I'm wanting to go and look back at some of the drivers in mid-pack, but this battle just keeps getting interesting. They're not exactly close to each other, but the time, it just always seems to fluctuate, more so than what I would expect. But now it is, in fact, starting to space out a little bit, so now we're going to go check on that very bright orange McLaren of Nick Thompson that I mentioned in qualifying. You can't help but notice it even if you didn't want to. It's just that color. He's running in the 5th position, and he actually just got a 3-second time penalty, And now it looks like someone has spun. Somebody has spun. Our leader, Archie, has spun. Our leader, Archie, is now suffering a DNF. I don't know what happened, but he was off the track, and now Scope Filter will inherit the lead, as it looks like Archie is in fact done for this session. Very disappointing for Archie. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I don't know. Maybe there was a connection issue, or if he just lost it and went off the track. But he had set our fastest lap of the race. He was our pole sitter. He was our leader. And now he suffers the disappointment of having a DNF and finishing all the way back in the 10th position. My heart breaks for Archie. It really does. I feel bad. Of course, Scope Filter, he doesn't feel bad, as he has inherited the lead, and a good lead at that, with Mr. P in second, 1.6 seconds behind him. Right now we see Briggsy in the Ferrari. He was about 5th place when we started. He's dropped all the way back to 9th place. Not sure what's going on there. And now Energy Dan in that Red Bull. He started in 9th, and he has worked his way only up to the 8th position. Of course, there is still nearly 20 laps remaining in this race. Plenty of time for him to get up there if he can. Fastest lap has now been set by Yas at a 1:24.319. He is now in the 5th position. He's worked his way all the way back from 8th to 5th, and now is right on the bumper of the championship contender of Meg Lugpie. Yas wants to keep his head in this race. He wants to keep his hat in the ring for the championship battle, as Meg Lugpie is putting an enormous amount of pressure on that McLaren of Nick Thompson. But what will come of it as they go into this corner? Meg Lugpie on the inside, but now the switch as the McLaren's on the inside, and the McLaren forced the Williams of Meg Lugpie wide just a little bit, and he got into the gravel and is dropped from the 4th position to the 5th, and now Yas is putting a lot of pressure on that McLaren of Nick Thompson. Nick Thompson not giving it up easy, as he definitely wants to hold on to the 3rd position as much as he possibly can. But Yas, battling for a championship, doesn't care what Nick Thompson wants, and he absolutely motors by him in that Sauber. Very nice action that we saw, and I do not think it's over, as Meg Lugpie, with an obviously fast car, is definitely wanting to make another move at Nick Thompson, and if possible, if he has the car, make a move on Yas as well. I'm not sure if Yas will be able to get up to 2nd or 1st, because they are quite a ways away, but it's only 4 seconds, and it's 21 laps remaining in this race, and anything can happen. We have seen that before. Gonna ride on board with the McLaren of Nick Thompson. Just about half a second separates that Sauber and the McLaren, and I know Nick Thompson is very, very hungry to get that position back from Yas. But remember, just behind that McLaren is the Williams of Meg Lugpie, who just a lap ago was forced by that McLaren to go into the gravels. I don't think it was a matter of dirty driving whatsoever. It just looked like they simply ran out of real estate. They ran out of racing room, and the Williams was forced just a little bit wide. None the worse for wear, no contact with the wall, just a little bit of dust kicked up from the gravel. Nonetheless, I'm sure that has definitely lit a fire under Meg Lugpie's rear end, and he's definitely wanting to get even further up the grid now. Seems as though this battle is starting to space out. Everyone is just kind of settling in a line, but we're going to look back now at Nitro Gash, who is trying to make a move on Energy Dan. obviously has the DRS, and he's inside on this corner, and he makes it very easily, but then he goes off the track. He is not able to complete the pass. He went just a little too hot in that corner and was not able to complete the pass as he went off the track, and Energy Dan got by him very, very easily after that. Going back to check on our leader, Scopefielder in the Williams, still comfortably in the lead in first. 1.2 seconds behind is that Force India machine of Mr. P. Our surprising third place qualifier, who was inherited second after the unfortunate circumstances surrounding Archie's retirement. Can Mr. P maybe find a little more speed in that car at the end of the race and challenge for this win? He's definitely in position right now as only 1 second separates them. That is definitely close enough to be able to make a move, and if he can get it down to 1 second, he will have the DRS, but it will not be this time as Mr. P is going into the pits. We will watch this pit stop and see where he re-enters the field. And the Force India machine pulls away, going out of the pits, having to maintain pit road speed, losing a lot of time on track, at least for now, but the pit stops will cycle around. He should eventually be back in second place once it's all said and done, but we're not sure. He rejoins the race in the last place, save for the DNF of Archie. He has a lot of ground to make up to get back to that second position. Luckily for him, he was the first to pit. So we have 8 more drivers that need to make their pit stops, and after that, the position should cycle back around, and Mr. P should find himself back in the top 3. Now, I mentioned earlier that sometimes pit strategy comes into play with these things. And at certain times, drivers will try to make it on 1 stop, sometimes on 2 stops. And I want to know what Mr. P is up to right now. Where he pitted as early as he did, I feel like he's almost definitely going to go and make it on 2 stops. But who knows, as it's only 18 laps remaining in this race, he might be trying to make it on 1 stop. Everyone might make it on 1 stop today. Gonna check back in our leader of Scopefielder in that Williams, who now sits comfortably in the lead with a 5-second gap to second place of Yas. That battle we saw earlier between the Sauber, McLaren, and the Williams, well, the positions have not changed, save for the pitting of Mr. P, who just got by Nitro Gas, it appears. We're gonna go look at that battle very quickly. But he got by Nitro Gas with relative ease, it seems. But yes, the Sauber, McLaren, and Williams battle has not changed positions whatsoever. They still run second, third, and fourth. Save, of course, for Mr. P pitting. And it looks like Meg Luckpie either does not have the car right now to make a move on Nick Thompson, or he's simply saving the car as much as he possibly can. It is still relatively early in the race. We're about halfway through this race, but it's still early to be making big moves, especially before you made a pit stop. Of course, separated by 2 seconds, there's not much of a big move that can be made just yet, as now it looks like Meg Luckpie is going into the pits. Yes, he does. We're going to watch this pit stop and see where he rejoins the field, and see where Mr. P rejoins the field, as this is now, if I am not wrong, our second driver to pit. The Williams is away, having to adhere to the very slow pit road speed limit must be so painful. But he re-enters the track in the 7th position, as Briggsy and Warslander are now making their pit stops behind him. Briggsy's pulling out, and so is Warslander. Mr. P, our first to pit, has now found his way back up to the 5th position already. Scopefielder still sitting very comfortably in the lead, with Yas in 2nd and Nick Thompson in 3rd. Energy Dan currently running in the 4th position. Right behind him is that Force India machine of Mr. P. Gonna ride on board with Mr. P just so you can get an idea of the gap that we're looking at right now. Of course, Energy Dan, Nick Thompson, Yas, and Scope Builder, all 4 of those drivers have yet to pit. Mr. P, with each and every passing inch he drives, he is getting ever so closer to Energy Dan. He's not going to be able to make the move this time. However, I'm almost betting that he is expecting Energy Dan to go into the pits this time. But will he? No, he does not, but Mr. P will most definitely get the DRS, but he will not need it as he has already cleared Energy Dan, and Mr. P has now re-inherited the 2nd position. As Yas, Nick Thompson has pitted as well. Scope Builder, though, 2 seconds ahead of Mr. P. I'm not sure if he pitted this time or not. I believe he did, though, to be separated only by 2 seconds. But now Mr. P is getting more pressure from Energy Dan. But I don't think it's going to be enough, as Energy Dan, again, still needs to pit. And Mr. P was our first to pit. Gets in the dirt just a little bit, that Force India does, but gets away none the worse for wear. Scope Builder still sitting very comfortably up front. We're going to ride on board with Energy Dan. Will he pit this time? I do not know. Not sure what he's trying. Of course, he's probably just trying to hold track position as long as he possibly can. He's not had the best day today, Energy Dan. Obviously does not pit this time. Is going to stay out at least for 1 more lap. But 2 seconds behind him is our 2nd place in the championship points, Yas. And he is going to be looking to pounce very, very shortly. Of course, right behind him is Nick Thompson in that McLaren. As it looks like Energy Dan got in the dirt just a little bit. Yes, he did. And now Yas gets by him. And then there's a little bit of contact with Energy Dan and Yas. Yas gets sideways. He does not spin. He saves it. Good job to Yas for hanging on to it. It just looked like Energy Dan carried just a little bit too much speed. Maybe misjudged that corner and just got into the bumper. Energy Dan, though, he did, in fact, let off the throttle. He gave Yas the room to recover. I don't think that was intentional by any means. But I'm sure it lost Yas a bit of time, as now the Red Bull is receiving a lot of pressure from that McLaren, and the McLaren is going to get by him very, very easily, as I feel Energy Dan has nothing left to lose now except to pit. So he is just dropping like a rock right now. Still no change at the top of the board. Scope Builder, Mr. P, and Yas is our podium sitters as of right now. Now it looks like Nick Thompson in that McLaren is going to put pressure on that Sauber of Yas. Not sure if he's going to be able to make the pass just yet, but if he can get to the DRS zone that's coming up very shortly, then he may just be able to do it. Nick Thompson desperately trying to fight for a podium right here as it is lap 15 of 27. We have only 12 laps to go. Nick Thompson has the DRS, I am almost positive of, but will it be enough to even get his nose under Yas going into this corner? No, it will not. He gets to his bumper but cannot get the nose underneath. Nick Thompson, very nice off that corner, but I think Yas was just a little bit better. Granted, Nick Thompson is very close to Yas right now. I feel that that corner did nothing but help that McLaren, as now he is right on his bumper. He is putting a lot of pressure. He is hoping that he doesn't have to make the pass, and he just has to put pressure on Yas. Maybe Yas will make a mistake and effectively make the pass for him. We don't know, but only a tenth of a second, if that, separates these cars right now. As now Yas has put a little bit more distance on that McLaren, but the McLaren is going to fight back, and it's going to fight back hard. Now don't worry, you are missing nothing at the front of the pack, as Scope Fielder is still 4 seconds ahead of the Force India machine of Mr. P. This is also effectively a championship battle, as Yas is in second, Nick Thompson is in third, 26 and 27 points respectively behind Meg Luckpie, who is in fifth. On the bumper again is that McLaren. Will he be able to make the pass going into this next corner? He's trying to get the slipstream on that Sauber. He's going to try to set up the move. He is definitely going to try to make the move. He is on his inside. He's on that Sauber's inside. He will, in fact, make that move, but Yas is going to make it right back. They are side by side. Wheel-to-wheel action is McLaren and Sauber. They get through that corner very cleanly. I have no idea how. And Nick Thompson, at least for now, is sitting in the third position. Yas right with him. They are still side by side. Yas has now gotten back in front of Nick Thompson, and he has cleared him at least for now. But Nick Thompson is going to make another move. It is almost a guarantee at this point. We are winding down to our final laps. We have only 11 laps remaining in this race. Nick Thompson, he is getting desperate. He wants a podium. He wants a good finish today. Yas, on the other hand, he wants to stay in the championship battle with one more race remaining. Meg Luckpie, on the other hand, knows that if he just rides and stays consistent and gets consistent points, that he will be in good shape come next week. Nick Thompson has now made the move on that Sauber, and on the outside of all places, and he has just absolutely pulled away and already put half a second on Yas. But Yas is not giving up, as we're going to ride on board with him. You can get an idea of the gap that you're looking at right now, but that gap is diminishing. Nick Thompson, that McLaren, that bright orange McLaren, is getting ever so further away from that Sauber, and Yas can do nothing but watch and hope that he has more. He is trying, I know he's trying so hard in that car to try to get each and every point that he can, to try to get each and every place he can. Not sure if it's going to be enough, but he has 11 laps to do it here today. Now, while this battle is going on, I want to mention that, as you see just behind that Sauber, it is the Williams of Meg Luckpie who is able to get just a little bit closer to this battle. And shortly, he's going to stick his hat in this ring. The Sauber has the DRS, but Nick Thompson wants the inside on this corner. The inside that turns into the outside. That is how Nick Thompson made that move last time, and it's how he kept third place this time around. I can only assume it is Nick Thompson carrying the speed off of that corner that is really helping him out right there in that first and second corners. Yas just really can't get closer. Yas can never get as close as he can anywhere else except on the front stretch. On that front straightaway, with that DRS zone, he can get right up to Nick Thompson. He can get wheel to wheel, and he can even get his nose ahead of him. He can possibly pass him. But Nick Thompson, anticipating that, made sure that he basically went to the inside, making Yas take that outside going into the first corner. Of course, as the corners switch, Yas was effectively on the inside afterwards, but Nick Thompson, having that speed coming off the corner, was able to hold on to the third position. And as we have been watching this battle heat up, it appears that the Red Bull of Energy Dan has retired from the session for what I do not know. He will effectively finish the race in 9th place. Very disappointing for Energy Dan. Yas going to try to make another move on that McLaren, but not going to make it stick just for now. Momentarily, we are going to take a look at our leader, Scopefielder, in the Williams, just so I can refresh your memories. And you know that he is not only in first, but very much ahead of Mr. P. As on board with Mr. P, you cannot see Scopefielder at all on the track. Going back now to this battle between Yas and the McLaren. Each and every lap, Yas is able to get just a little bit closer in certain corners, but it's not enough to get close enough to make a move. Now, he is very close this time. If he can keep this gap, if he can maintain this distance between him and Nick Thompson, he'll get the DRS, and he might be able to make the pass this time. Now, Nick Thompson, of course, he is protecting that inside line as he knows exactly what Yas is going to try to do. He makes Yas go to the outside once again, but Yas absolutely cleared him this time. But will Nick Thompson try to make it stick? Yes, he does, and Yas gets by him, but now Nick Thompson is on the inside. They are wheel to wheel once more, and Nick Thompson in the McLaren is back in 3rd place. But only just, is now it is the Sauber of Yas who is back in 3rd place. It's the Sauber, then the McLaren, the Sauber, then the McLaren. This is a battle. This is racing. This is what we come to see. On board now with that McLaren. He is chasing that Sauber down of Yas. A DRS zone is coming up momentarily. Will he be able to make the move? Now, while the Sauber and McLaren were battling, as I mentioned only 2 laps ago, Meg Lugpie in that Williams, who is in 5th, has now entered the battle for 3rd. Meg Lugpie will almost definitely get the DRS on Nick Thompson, but Nick Thompson will definitely get the DRS on Yas. What will happen? We're going to ride on board with Yas. Nick Thompson's going to try to make that move on the inside. Will he make it stick? No, he will not. He does not make it stick, and he's going to have to settle for 4th place, at least for now. Lap 21 of 27 here. 6 laps remaining. That McLaren making a move on the inside. He clears Yas, but only just does he clear Yas, as he cleared him once, and Yas stuck his nose back in there. But then the McLaren got by yet again. I really think that McLaren is better than that Sauber, but the times are so close that it's going to come down to who is the most consistent and who doesn't make a mistake. Yas tried to make a move on the McLaren right there. Did not make it stick. Of course, Meg Lugpie back there. He's saying, Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Battle it out. Do whatever you want to do because it's just making my job easier back here. And if these two cars were to wreck out, then Meglugpie would go from 5th to 3rd just like that. That's Sauber making a move on the McLaren. Again, Nick Thompson protecting his inside like he always does. Nick Thompson right now has the edge. There may have been just a little bit of contact. In fact, there was. Nick Thompson keeps the lead. Yas in 4th. I mean, Nick Thompson does not keep the lead. He keeps 3rd place. With Yas having to settle for 4th yet again, at least for now. But Yas is not done yet as he is going to make a move going into this corner. And again, he does not complete the pass. He is right on the bumper of the McLaren. He is right on the bumper of Nick Thompson, and he wants to make this pass. He's going to have a couple more opportunities. There's a DRS zone coming up right now. And then there will be one on the front stretch as well. Yas has the DRS. He will make the pass on the McLaren. He clears the McLaren, and with relative ease, he made it look so easy. The McLaren was a sitting duck in that corner. But the McLaren is no sitting duck now. No, not at all. He is on the bumper of Yas. His fight is not over yet. This is a battle that's going to come down to the last few laps, if not the last corner. Nick Thompson went a little bit wide, but no harm, no foul. Thompson has the DRS. Gonna ride on board with him. He's gonna try to make the move. Yas has now picked up on what the McLaren is doing, and he's protecting his inside now. The McLaren is able to stay right with Yas. Almost wheel to wheel, but not quite, but definitely bumper to bumper. We're gonna ride on board with him, and look at this. Look at how close they are, how they're not hitting each other. I have absolutely no idea. Trying to make that move on the outside, but cannot make it stick. Did not want to get into any contact with Yas. Did not want to destroy either one of their cars. A very smart move by Nick Thompson to back out just right there in order to let everybody just get through safely. Now this is where Yas made a pass last time when he got that DRS. Thompson not so lucky this time around. Lap 23 of 27 with Scope Filter, of course, still up in front now by 7 seconds over Mr. P. The battle you're watching right now is taking place 12 seconds behind the second place car. So this battle effectively is only for the 3rd position and not by any stretch of the imagination for the lead. Nick Thompson has DRS, and he's trying to make the move. He tried to make the move on the inside, but it didn't work. Yas is protecting it, so then the McLaren has to make the move on the outside, which turns into the inside, and the McLaren, with just a little touch on the Sauber, got through. The McLaren now in 3rd place once again, as Yas in the Sauber is not going to let it go. Not at all. Nitro Gash, fastest lap of the race right now. Nitro Gash, of course, running in the 8th position. A quick update on Energy Dan, as apparently he hit his wing spinning through. He lost his wing on the first chicane. That is why Energy Dan has suffered an unfortunate DNF today. Yas tried to make a move on the McLaren again. Did not make it work. That DRS, he really helped him, but was not able to make it stick. But now he might be able to make it stick this time around, as he now has the edge. He now has the advantage over Nick Thompson, and Meglugpie is now yet again trying to stick his hat into this battle. He is trying to get by that McLaren, and that McLaren, not even caring about the Williams, has his sight set solely on that white and red Sauber. Nick Thompson gets by the Sauber, but only just as they are wheel to wheel in this corner once again. Nick Thompson is actually forced wide by the Sauber. Nick Thompson will hold on to the 4th position, at least for now, and he is battling back very strong against that Sauber. This is heating up. This is getting aggressive. No dirty driving from what I can see, but definitely aggressive, hard racing, as it looks like, at least for now, Nick Thompson has been able to make the move and get ahead of the Sauber, but then the Sauber sticks his nose ahead of Nick Thompson again. There's a little bit of contact. They both get away very, very cleanly, except for the contact, that is. Nick Thompson in third, Yas in fourth, Meglukpai still in fifth in that Williams. Gonna ride on board with Meglukpai and just watch this battle, as he has the absolute best seat in the house, as Yas has now gotten by Nick Thompson, but again, only just. It is their anthem. I'm not even sitting down. I'm pacing around the room watching this battle. This is really heating up. This is extremely interesting. Now, Nick Thompson, he will get the DRS this time, but will he be able to make the move on the inside or the outside? That is the question. Or will he be able to make a move at all? He will not be able to make it this time. It is now lap 26 of 27. Only 2 laps remaining. Scopefielder still in the lead with Mr. P in second. But right now, we are watching the battle between Yas, Nick Thompson, and Meglukpai. Sauber versus McLaren versus Williams. And an amazing battle it is. If you are just joining us, a quick recap. Yas and Nick Thompson, for approximately the past 5 to 10 laps, have just been trading positions back and forth. It has been an incredible battle. A little contact here and there, but nothing intentional and nothing dirty. Just very hard, aggressive racing, as it should be. As now it looks like the Sauber is making a move yet again, and he will complete the pass, at least this time. Scopefielder has now crossed the line and taken the white flag. We will join Scopefielder here momentarily, at least, to watch him win his race, assuming he has one more mistake-free lap. But right now, the battle that everyone is watching, the battle that everyone wants to know about, is who's going to come out on that last position in the podium. Who is going to get third place? These drivers have now taken the white flag. It is now their final lap. And it is the McLaren and the Sauber, Yas and Nick Thompson with Meglukpai. They are 3 wide almost going into the first corner. Nick Thompson in third. Yas in fourth. Meglukpai has dropped all the way back to 6th, as Briggsy is now in 5th position. I have no idea what happened to Meglukpai. There was so much going on at once, I couldn't tell. But Meglukpai, our points leader, has now dropped from 5th to 6th. And Briggsy wants to stick his hat in the ring and maybe get 4th, maybe even 3rd. I think Nick Thompson just about has it. However, we're going to have to wait and see what happens in this DRS zone. This DRS zone has been very, very good to Yas. This is where Yas has been able to make a lot of his passes, but he's not close enough this time. Scopefielder, of course, is our winner. Mr. P going to finish in 2nd place. The McLaren of Nick Thompson about to enter the final corner. No pressure from behind from Yas. It is almost a guarantee that he will, in fact, get 3rd place. Nick Thompson will be our final sitter on the podium, so long as there is no time penalties with Yas. And what did I say? So long as there was no time penalties, Nick Thompson would be on the podium. But it appears as though Yas has officially been credited with the 3rd place finish because of time penalties from Nick Thompson. That is the official ruling. Time penalties because of Nick Thompson has put Yas into the 3rd position, but nonetheless, a very, very amazing battle between those 2 drivers for the last 5-10 laps. I am not even sure, but that was probably the best battle I have seen since I've been commentating these races. Granted, that has only been this season, but nonetheless, very amazing. I'm glad I could see that. So it is officially Scopefielder in the Williams, who finishes in first. Second place is Mr. P in the Force India Machine. Third place is Yas in the Sauber. Meg Luckpie is in fourth. That is our championship leader right there, Meg Luckpie. And Nick Thompson, who crossed the line in third, is going to officially finish fifth after how many time penalties? I am unsure. It looks like 2 time penalties amounting up to 8 seconds has put Nick Thompson back into fifth. Our remaining finishing order is Briggsy, Nitro Gash, Warislander, Energy Dan, and our pole sitter Archie, who unfortunately had suffered a DNF in this race. There were 3 DNFs, Warislander, Energy Dan, and Archie. That was definitely a great race, and remember, we have one more race to go. Next week, we will be in China. This is a makeup race. This race was scheduled to be our last one, but China will be our last one as it is a makeup race due to connection issues a few weeks prior. Until then, this has been the Invictus Racing League Performance League 2 race. I'm Tim Bodie. Have a good day, good night, a good evening, a good morning, wherever you are. And until next time, be safe.